Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
It was time to embark on another epic Scottish road trip in my trusty micro camper van. The call of Scotland's breathtaking north had recently been irresistible. Brace yourself for jaw-dropping views,
Probably the most beautiful place I've been in the world.
heart-stirring moments,
I'm tearing up, man.
and plenty of laughter.
Are you getting sick of this mountain yet? No, me neither.
Armed with time, excitement, and, of course, way too much camera gear, I arrived at my first location. The unknown, the endless possibilities, and the joy of discovery awaited. Scotland never fails to amaze me. Each visit is filled with wonder. I begin my adventure at an extremely specific location with the promise of capturing a photograph I'd yearned for over 8 years.
Wow. Wow, it's the bookie. Oh, you know what? I will never ever cease to be completely in awe of beautiful Glencoe. For me, this is a really special place actually because, wow, this is where I first properly fell in love with the Scottish Highlands. I guess this was the first place that I came. And back then, I thought this was the extent of the Scottish Highlands, but I know now that there's so much more to it. But this is an incredible glen, a glen that could rival any other area of the whole of Scotland, in my opinion. Absolutely, it is raw beauty at its finest. And I'm on my way up to the Northern Highlands, but I've wanted to stop here for many, many years to grab pretty much this photograph. I'll explore around a little bit more, but this is an image that I think I've avoided for many years. I've avoided getting this photograph because it's quite popular. It's photographed a lot. Now, one thing I always say, just jokingly, when I'm taking images of a well-photographed scene is that you could see holes in the floor from all the tripod legs, but in this case, it is literal. You can actually see the holes in the mud. It is brilliant. And I'm really not that bothered anymore about taking popular images. I think I probably went for a bit of a phase where I felt like I didn't want to, but now I don't care. If it's nice, I'm probably going to photograph it. And there's one thing that I always think to myself, and that is this. These popular photographs, these scenes, that a lot of you will probably know this. We are landscape photographers. This is what we do. We live and breathe this. We see these photographs, these popular images from all over the world. I know some popular photographs that are in countries that I've never been to because we live photography every single day. But we are such a minority. Think about all of your family members that aren't in photography, your friends, the vast majority of people in this world that do not care that much. They don't know that this is a popular image. So if I've got this in my portfolio, that is brilliant. This is a nice image to have. And now as the rain starts falling down here in beautiful Glencoe, this is as simple as a photograph I think you could ever get. The only thing I've really had to think about is trying not to have things impeding on the composition. Some of these ferns down here, some of the grasses down in the foreground, I didn't want them sticking in to the waterfalls, which are really my main foreground element. I had to put the wide angle lens on, which I wasn't really expecting. I thought 24mm was going to be wide enough, but I just needed to go a tiny bit wider down to 20mm, just because this freaking mountain in the background is so big. I put my polarizer and my 3-stop neutral density filter on the front, which you can see is now covered in raindrops. Unfortunately, I've already got the photograph. Just before this rain came, we had light down in the foreground, but them dark, moody clouds were moving in behind the mountain. So it was pretty much perfect, to be honest. Apart from trying to perfect the composition, my only job really was to try and select the best shutter speed, in my opinion. Here it seemed to be about 1/3, 1/4 of a second. In saying that, I have took a couple a little bit longer just to see when I get back to the van, get them up on my laptop if I prefer a longer shutter speed. This image will probably have to be a composite as well, because although I needed a shutter speed for the waterfalls, for the cascades in the foreground, we have got this large tree on the left-hand side of the frame, and there's a slight breeze here in Glencoe, and I didn't want to blur the motion of those leaves with 1/4 of a second, 1/2 of a second. So I took a second image, bumped my ISO up a little bit at 1/125th of a second, just to try and freeze the motion in the leaves on that tree. And that is that. This feels very special at the same time as feeling strangely familiar. Just because I've seen this composition so many times, it almost feels like I've actually taken this photograph already, but this is definitely the first time. This is a photograph that I've wanted to take within the first 6 months of me ever picking up a camera when I first saw this incredible scene. So this is a big one for me.
I also grabbed a second photograph in a landscape orientation. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments below.
Do you know what I always think, coming back to taking photographs of popular compositions, I always think like about my parents, which is funny because they watch my videos, so they'll probably laugh at this, but I just see them as like the perfect example of people that they're not into photography, into landscape photography, so they don't know, they've probably never seen this shot in their lives, but then they'll get my calendar every year or whatever, and they'll see the photograph and they'll hopefully think, oh, that's a really nice photograph. By the way, on that note, what a plug, my 2024 calendar is now available to pre-order, and I just wanted to take a second to say thank you. It is these sorts of trips, I get emotional when I talk about this sort of thing, it's these sorts of trips that I live for, really, and I adore this amazing privilege that I have to do this, and it's all down to you and the support that you give me through things like calendar purchases, and thank you so much. You know how grateful I am. It means the absolute world. The pre-order is only going to be on for probably another week, to be honest, if that, and it's cheaper, it's going to be hand signed by me, and probably best of all, arguably, free shipping worldwide. So if you're going to get it, now's the best time. Link in the video description. So I don't think I mentioned, but I did actually drive up late last night, got a really nice park up in Glencoe, just over near the main road. And I spent most of the evening just reading my Photographing Scotland book about this particular composition, about photographing the bookie Letiv Moor. Absolutely amazing. But in that book, it says a lot of people just take that photograph at them falls and they don't bother to walk a little bit further upstream to discover some more foreground subjects, some more potential for some nice photographs. So that's exactly what I'm doing now. I'll tell you what else is really cool as well. This stuff here is heather. In 1 or 2 months' time, this stuff is going to be in bloom and the most incredible, vibrant colour of magenta. Imagine this as a foreground with the beast off in the background. Oh, so this is incredible. The light is just so quintessentially Scottish, man. It is changing literally every 30 seconds. It is amazing. We're getting light in the foreground, gloom in the background, and then it changes to the other way around. Oh, it's unbelievable. So really simple photograph once again. Are you getting sick of this mountain yet? No, me neither. Oh, this is unbelievable. The only difference is I've changed my shutter speed to about 1/6 of a second, a really subtle minor adjustment, but I just feel like it's working for this particular water in the foreground here. I've once again got the polarizer on and the 3-stop. The polarizer is working, an absolute treat once again. And there is nothing more to this image. I am going to wait around here for this light, see if it gets even better. We're getting strips of light across the mountain and everything. The clouds are absolutely out of this world. Middle of the day, guys. I could not be asking for better. In fact, if you could see in the background here, there is a definite rainstorm coming in there. You little beauty, I'm hanging about here. I'm not really mad looking forward to this one. I'm not too sure why I bought it. Macaroni cheese. It's not the sort of thing I'd be buying at home. The all-important taste test. This is piping hot, by the way. It's pretty bland. It's pretty bland, but I think it's going to do the job. It's alright. So I've driven a little bit further down through Glencoe, a little bit more towards Fort William, with the intent to stop again to grab another photograph of a popular subject or popular composition, but it's another one that I've never got before. This particular subject, I have photographed it before, but I've never got this particular composition, so we're getting stuck in with the classics. Now, I did want to park at the car park that is intended for this location, but it is absolutely rammed, heaving, so much so there's even a bagpiper there blasting out Amazing Grace. It's actually quality, it's pretty cool. But I think the school summer holidays have just started here in Scotland, not down in England, so yeah, it's pretty busy. But it all adds to the joy of photographing popular locations. So welcome to the incredible, the vast, the epic Three Sisters here in Glencoe. So epic, in fact, that I've had to put my 14mm lens on my full frame Nikon Z7 just to get it all in, and even then it struggles a little bit. This place is unbelievable, and this image up on the screen now is still one of my favourite photographs from the whole of Scotland. It's one of my favourite photographs ever, but that image was taken up from the car park where all the tourists are. I want to head down, you may be able to see off in the distance, just a bit further down into the valley. We've got this incredible river, which, once again, just like earlier on, should help to give us some wonderful foreground interest. As we move on, I wanted to say another massive thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. So if you are one of the, well, let's face it, one of the few people really that has never heard of Squarespace, it's an all-in-one platform that you can use to build your own website. It's essentially a website that you go on to build your own website. And the biggest selling point is that it is so easy. It's a drag and drop system. You add a few images, a few bits of text, and within a couple of hours, you'll have your own website up and running. It is so easy. They've got loads of different professional looking templates to choose from to make things even easier, but these are all customizable and editable, so you can really make that website your own. Squarespace have got some brilliant e-commerce packages, which means if you want something a bit more than just a portfolio, you actually want to sell products, sell some print, you could do that through Squarespace as well. And that's exactly what I do. I sell prints, my ebooks, my 2024 calendar, of course, which I mentioned earlier, is now available to pre-order. I advertise my workshops on there, so for me, it is essential, and I wouldn't be able to run my business without it, and Squarespace just make all of that so easy. Now, on top of all that, Squarespace have got fantastic award-winning customer service if you need a little bit of a helping hand when you're creating your website. Like I've been saying, it's proper easy, so you're probably not going to need it, but it's there if so. Absolutely fantastic. So if you'd like to give them a go, head over to squarespace.com/Henry Turner, or hit the link in the video description below to get yourself a 14-day free trial. Absolutely nothing to lose. It's a no-brainer. And if you like your free trial, make sure you use the offer code Henry Turner at checkout for a whopping 10% off your first purchase. Oh, just looked at myself on the screen and realising I look like an orange, like an actual orange walking about Glencoe, man. What a wally. So it was actually really tricky to get down to this little spot, which I like. It's nice to be away from the hordes of people, but yeah, it was tough. I had to actually skirt past the crash barrier a little bit, on the safe side albeit, but yeah, it was a bit sketchy to get here. But like most landscape photographers, I absolutely love these sorts of ones when it's inaccessible, no one else here, I've got it all to myself, and I've got a bit of an idea for a shot. Now I say that, I've got a bit of an idea, as if I've came up with it right now. This is another photograph that I have wanted for absolute years and years. And although I've had like a rough idea of how I'm going to compose it, because I've seen this image loads of times before, I've still had to faff around a little bit. And this pedantic approach to composition is something that I think is so important for us landscape photographers. The little small movements up and down. See, I've even got my centre column there, look, what, 25 centimetres, a little bit higher. The left and rights have been so important for me, just to try and create a story of foreground moving its way into the background, flowing into the background as we head through this river. So it's taken me a while to get my camera in this exact position that you're seeing it right now. Oh, so how ironic is this? Just as I was talking about the importance of height and how I was shooting up at eye level for quite a specific reason, I completely changed my mind. The course of this composition has taken a little bit of a turn. I've just felt like getting down low is actually way better. I just want to bring out, I want to accentuate these beautiful channels of the flow of this water down here as it makes its way off into the midground of the image. And I feel like getting down low, getting closer to this foreground is so important, especially with shooting with the wide angle lens. And I would encourage us so much to be over the top, to be fussy, to be pedantic with your composition, faff around with your tripod, get impatient with yourself, change your mind. This is such an important part of composition, in my opinion, the trial and error and the fussiness and the faff of it all. So the sun's just come out now, and I've already fortunately grabbed the photographs. When it was a little bit moodier, it felt a bit more dramatic, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show you this image that's from a lower perspective, and then I'll show you the one that I took a second ago, which was a much higher perspective. And let me know down in the comments which one you prefer. To be honest, I think they're probably both going to be all right. And then I want to see if I can do something with this beast over here.
So I obviously changed my mind for a reason here, and it turns out the higher perspective image was just so much worse than the one at a lower perspective, so I just stuck with the one image. But as always, feel free to comment below either way.
So I did have a little look at that Twin Falls, but it felt like the water was way too fast moving and I couldn't figure out the correct shutter speed. It was really tough, so I've just left it. Now, I wasn't actually planning on doing any frigging photography in Glencoe. I was just passing through. I spent the night here, like I said earlier, and I just wanted to break up my journey to where I'm headed to ultimately, which will be in next week's video. So I'm going to leave you there. I wanted to say once again, my calendar is on pre-order for one more week. To anyone that purchases, thank you so much for your support. It is absolutely incredible. I'm so grateful. I can't wait to send them out, and I hope you like it. I'm sure you will. But yeah, thank you so much. I'll put that in the video description below, the link to my calendar. And yeah, please comment below. Hit the thumbs up on the video if you've got a second. It proper helps me out. And I'll see you on the next adventure from a mystery location in northern Scotland. Out.